Believers often like to say that there are questions that atheists can't answer. I'm yet to see any evidence of this. It's usually that the questioner doesn't understand the response or just chooses not to accept it. These two South African lads from Reformed by Christchurch make videos to help people improve their relationship with God. However, they made a video in January 2020 stating that there are two questions that atheists can't answer. Maybe we should see if we can help with that. Hello, I'm the Skeptic. I watch videos on YouTube that make extraordinary claims, whether that's flat earth, strange conspiracies, or even a claim that a god is real, and then explain why I can't accept their position. In this God Squad video, two fellows explain, and I use the term loosely, why it takes more faith to be an atheist. So let's see if we can help them understand the atheist position. But before we do, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications of more videos, and smash the like button. I'm excited to jump into this one.
Now, a lot of atheists claim that they have all the science on their side and they have all the facts on their side and they don't require any faith. We are Christians and the Christians are the ones who are just believing in God with blind faith. But that is not true.
Hang on, I thought you were claiming that atheists use faith. But now it sounds as though you're suggesting that you don't use faith to reach the conclusion that God is real. That must mean this video also has evidence of God, finally!
It actually requires more faith to be an atheist because they have these major questions that they wrestle and struggle with and don't have answers for, and we as Christians do have the answers for these major questions.
Oh, maybe not.
So the first question is, where did life come from? Now, the famous scientist and atheist Richard Dawkins said the following. We'll play a clip.
Well, then who did create the heavens and the earth?
Why do you use the word who? You see, you immediately beg the question by using the word who.
Well, then how did it get created?
Well, by a very slow process.
Well, how did it start?
Nobody knows how it started. We know the kind of event that it must have been. We know the sort of event that must have happened for the origin of life.
And what was that?
It was the origin of the first self-replicating molecule.
Right, and how did that happen?
I told you we don't know.
So you have no idea how it started?
No, nor has anybody.
Nor has anyone else.
Which is correct. No one knows for certain, but the difference is we don't fill in the gap with a god or fairies or magic.
What do you think is the possibility that intelligent design might turn out to be the answer to some issues in genetics or in evolution?
It could come about in the following way. It could be that at some earlier time, somewhere in the universe, a civilization evolved by probably some kind of Darwinian means to a very, very high level of technology and designed a form of life that they seeded onto perhaps this planet.
I love this part. Dawkins is throwing out a hypothetical. He in no way suggests that it is actually what happens, but I think I see where this is going.
Now, that is a possibility and an intriguing possibility. And I suppose it's possible that you might find evidence for that if you look at the details of biochemistry, molecular biology. You might find a signature of some sort of designer.
So even one of the most famous atheists and scientists believe that life had to come from another form of life, and he described that as being aliens.
Yep. Saw this coming. Dawkins didn't say that was what he believed. He just threw it out as one of the many, many, many possibilities. Is there currently any evidence for this scenario? None at all. I guess you're just cherry-picking what you want to hear for your own narrative.
Now, this just shows that life had to come from life, and that's why we as Christians believe that life had to come from God.
So, because someone suggested that aliens are a slim possibility, you believe in God? Right.
Because you believe that life could come from aliens, then the question is, who created those aliens and who created those aliens? The question just continues to go on.
No, it doesn't. We're saying that through a process of natural evolution, life came about. We don't believe in a who. Before you get to say that a god created life, you'd have to demonstrate that there is a God.
So to say that there had to be an infinite being who has been eternal forever and who will be eternal forever because he is eternal is makes more sense than to say that aliens brought life to Earth.
Actually, that doesn't make sense to me, so we're at a standoff. Bring something else to the table, please.
Now, firstly, atheists have to put faith in not knowing an answer to this question.
Even before the question is asked, I reject this. Saying I don't know doesn't take faith. Carry on.
And secondly, they have to have faith that it can be anything. It can be aliens. They don't even know the answer to this question.
Actually, it's not a faith-based position to say it could be anything. Faith is accepting a position without evidence, so already your premise is incorrect.
But as Christians, all we have to do is put faith in God, because the Bible says that God breathed life into Adam. You see, God is the one who put life into humans.
And the Philosopher's Stone said that Harry could see himself in the mirror with the stone in his pocket. Does that mean it happened?
So as Christians, we have the answer to this question, that life came from God.
Actually, you claim to have an explanation, but it would need backing up with evidence, which you haven't done.
And all we have to do is put faith in God. Now, atheists, they don't know what to put faith in, but they have to put faith in something, and they're putting the faith in saying that they don't know.
Again, it doesn't take faith to say, I don't know.
They're putting their faith in not having an answer for this question. And if you talk to an atheist, the common excuse they often will give you is, oh, well, we don't know yet. Later on, science will have an answer. But to say that we don't know is a form of faith.
No, it isn't. And your lack of understanding about the definition of faith is irritating.
Because you don't know if it's going to be revealed to us in 1,000 years. Let's say that God isn't real. So it really takes more faith to be an atheist and to say that maybe aliens created life than to say I put my faith and trust in an eternal God creating life. Now that you mention it, one thing that I heard, and I think it's so true, and it is that I believe that the God of an atheist is time. Because whenever they don't have an answer, they just say, well, give us more time, then we'll have the answer. When they look at evolution and they see the pieces don't match up, how can the earth be so old? They just add more time. They don't know how everything could have happened. So what is their God? They explained it by saying, give us more time, and there had to be more time for everything to develop the way that it did.
I'm not even sure what that incoherent babble was about, but I'm just going to disagree.
Yes, and that leads us to the second question that an atheist can't answer is, what created everything?
Isn't that the same as the first question, which we've already touched on? Science has theories, and scientific theory is defined differently to the theory you and I use, which are constantly being updated as to where everything came from.
How did the universe come to be? And this question can't be answered by an atheist. All they say is, well, there were billions of years ago, and the most common answer that you get is the Big Bang.
And that is the best explanation we have at the moment. You just choose to reject it as you can't see past the Bible, which, by the way, has no evidence to be the Word of God.
Now, the Big Bang doesn't make any sense, because how can something come from nothing?
And that is just your lack of being able to grasp the concept of nothing. They then start trying to explain how nothing can come about from nothing, and that plants can't come from a broken glass. It's actually quite amusing, but also a real shame that they can't grasp how evidence and scientific explanation work. But as for answering their two questions, which was actually only one question, we can give this a big skeptic. I would suggest these guys look at what faith actually is before claiming it's something that atheists use to reject belief. Well, thank you for joining me on this video. Let me know in the section below if you'd like me to take a look at more extraordinary claims, and I can make a video on that too. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. So, from me, the skeptic, stay safe, keep thinking logically, and ask questions. Skepticism is the first step towards truth. See you next Saturday.